Alright folks, my name is Freyn and today we're playing the Centurion AVRE, or Armoured Vehicle Royal Engineers, or as voted for by my stream chat, Klunk. So this is a brand new British Tier 5 Premium at BR 7.0 and it plays very unlike anything else in the tree. It has a 165mm HESH launcher, which you might think, well, that's not too far off the FV40005. But unlike that, this one, for one, has some armor, and secondly, it is an incredibly slow projectile. For those of you who play the Sturmpanzer a lot, yeah, the gun's kind of along those lines, just with a lot more penetration and HESH spalling mechanics. But for this first game, I'm on El Alamein, and we'll cut straight to the chase here. Heading on my way up to the sea point, I figured I'd sit on the hill and just use my sheer shell drop to sort of lob shells down from above over the ridge. But I've noticed this leopard here, so I'll just stop, aim up. Hopefully he hasn't noticed me. Went to do some range finding and yeah, started getting rammed in the back by a T-34. Thankfully he noticed what I was looking at eventually and stopped pushing me. Didn't actually hit the leopard, but the sheer amount of explosive in the shell meant it didn't matter. A near hit was enough when the leopard's got thin armor. This shell has the equivalent of 20 kilos of TNT in it. That is absolutely monstrous. Sometimes you're actually better off landing under the tank than hitting the tank. In fact, actually, in most cases, probably. But now, for the first of many times this video, we are going to skip ahead. It's got a 22-second reload, it's not the quickest around, and it's not the easiest to hit with, so there will be a lot of cuts for sort of dead periods. Found a Tiger 2. Didn't really take much time over that shot. I was a bit worried he was just going to kill me, and I wanted to get the shell out. Hit his lower side on the track. The blast took out his track and his barrel. No other damage to him. None of his crew, no transmission, nothing like that. Now I'm fairly confident I can beat his repair time here. Was going to go for his turret cheek, but he turned his turret away a bit, so I went for his side instead. And ended up with remarkably low damage. For the sheer amount of firepower in this shell, that was very little. I really expected him to die from that side hit. So we'll push through the smoke. And again, really not the damage I was expecting. I went under his turret knowing that's where most of the crew are going to be located. Possibly some ammo as well. And you can see those sort of HESH shatterings on the side of his tank there. Just no real damage achieved. There we go, through the turret front is much better when you can get that shot. Honestly, 4 shots there with a 22-second reload. Not what you want to be taking out one of the most common opponents you're going to see. So, while this tank has been a lot more fun than I expected, it's certainly got its downsides. But the enemy has decapped C, and they've cleared quite a few tanks around there, so I'm starting to head on my way back up. And spotted a T-44 coming out of the cap. Hit a bit lower than I'd like to. Normally I would try and hit the turret or the turret ring. The upper plates aren't too reliable, even with this amount of spalling, because HESH spalling goes at a 90-degree angle to the armor plate. It doesn't follow the sort of the direction of the shell, so that might not have killed him. It would have still undoubtedly crippled him, and the blast will take out that barrel, no question. But with a longer reload, you really want to be killing. Ideally, you would rangefind every shot, but you don't really have time. Now, I've just seen a panther driving along behind me there, so we will turn around and let's go hunt him down. He is a threat if he gets around my side. But as long as he's on his own, I should be quite capable of taking him out. Even if I just have to panic fire my first one, it ought to cripple him enough that I can comfortably sit and reload. So So if you find isolated targets, this tank is working fantastically. Not so great at taking on clusters of enemies, but yeah, your first shot is almost always guaranteed to cripple the enemy. And if you can get a rear shot like that, sort of coming in the back end so the spalling goes down into the front of the hull, it will absolutely gut them. Now we'll skip ahead again. This game isn't going ideal, and I decided to try and go the longer way around towards B. Saw a tank on the way, got a bit distracted trying to chase him down until a plane took him out. But no kill there. And we've ended up simply trading B for C, so it's not going well. Ideally, some of us should have stayed up at that cap, but it doesn't always work out that way. There's a Coelian over there. I'm just going to range find him. He is close enough. 350, so we go over the top, and there you can see what I mean with the spalling at its 90-degree to the armor plate. I hit his upper plate. If this was sort of an APHE round with the same sort of caliber and penetration, that would have completely obliterated him. But with Hesh, it basically goes down into the driver, into the transmission. That's more like it, the side shot. That's really what I would have hoped would have happened with that Tiger 2 earlier, just obliterating everything inside. Now we're once more falling into the same problems. Half the team that took B is now heading down to A, and myself and the Vickers are heading over to C. Ideally, I would rather the Vickers stayed in B and I went to C, because I cannot fire through buildings, and there are a lot of buildings around the B point. But for now, it looks like I'm the designated guy to stay and try and cover this point. It would not be good for us to go get A and C and end up losing the B point. But something's just been marked up, and I'm a bit concerned he's going to end up going around getting our Vickers here. So I figured there shouldn't be anything too close to the cap. Let's go in and try and give him some backup. I won't be too far away regardless, so see, he's still pushing into C, he hasn't stopped, and then the T-44-100 appears in his side. I wasn't quick enough to get over here. It is slower than the standard Centurions. That's my teammate down. But where's the 44-100 gone? He should be around here somewhere. There he goes. Just managed to clip him, really. I was very worried when I fired that shot that due to the low velocity and not having enough lead on him, it was actually going to miss, but did manage to get him before he went around the corner. Side shots work, for the most part, absolutely fantastically with this. If you can get side, it's far better than a frontal shot. I mean, that goes for most shells in the game, certainly, but due to the sloped armor at this tier, it's almost always going to work better to go for the side where it's nice and flat and you know the direction this bowling is going. But now, just pushing up into C. We did manage to take A, although lost the 2 tanks down there since. We've still got B, no one's gone back for that. I'm going to try and grab C as I'm nearby. And hopefully we can maybe pull this back. I know they've got players in the air. That doesn't leave them with much on the ground. But I've never been a huge fan of the C point, and it does feel a bit exposed. I should probably sit on the left side of this rock here. I'm just a bit concerned about where the enemies might potentially come from, and I want to get back to B fast if I can. Started repairing my not quite broken engine. saw the Jagdpanther there a little too late. I did see him in time to react and try and turn my turret, but because I was actually repairing, it meant I couldn't rotate myself to deal with him fast enough. I had to stop the repair first, and that got me killed. But now we are on to game number 2. This is port domination, and my team is once more not doing particularly well. I know people have been dying in this little alcove, so I'm just going to sit and cover that. Range finding even at this close range, just in case I have missed shots at a closer range, and I was a bit panicky over the idea of doing it again. Oh, I know there's something in there.
Roger that.
So for now, I'm just going to try and sit and be patient. Cover this, let the 2 heavies to my south cover the route to the sea point, and all should be good. But artillery's just off cooldown, so let's drop that in there, and perfect timing for that IU to come out. Just as I hit the artillery button, there he is. Thankfully managed to see him in time and cancel what I was doing. But we've now skipped forward again, and we've got tank destroyer in those alcoves now, in that little passageway between the buildings, so I don't have to watch that anymore, and I can help cover the route to sea, which is by far the most important area of this map right now. There's a heavy behind that wall, but there's also a Tiger 2P pushing across, so take aim right into the turret cheek. One of the reasons that's the best place to actually hit the Tiger 2 is because not only does it go through the front of the turret and gut that, but the blast will also go down through the whole roof, so it will get the whole tank. One more awkward skip further forwards, still in pretty much the same place. My team shifted around as to who is where and what they're driving, but we're still just trying to cover this route to the sea point. I know there's a Waffenträger on his way. I can see him coming, so we'll ignore the fire for now, aim up for the Waffenträger, fire, and clip the duster that just drove across. Now, there's no way the duster's going to survive. Very fortunate for the Waffenträger that he got in the way there. Less fortunate for me as the duster is a little more manageable. Now, popped smoke. I should be able to take a hit from the Waffenträger. This is actually much tankier than the average Centurion. But I wasn't on the perfect angle. I didn't want to give him the chance, so use the smoke to cover my reload. And managed to hit his cannon barrel, of all things. With the long reload, I managed to hit his cannon barrel. It's a hull breakable tank. Anywhere near him should devastate it. But the barrel, I would have honestly expected the barrel to just be entirely torn away from the tank. Next round, I should have really ranged found while I was on reload there, but I didn't, and ended up going, I'm not quite sure, if it landed underneath, I would have still expected it to kill him. That was very odd, but so many shots to try and deal with this Waffenträger. He's finally down. Honestly, that took far more work than it should have done. I'm not the greatest shot with this, no matter how fun it is. Just had everything knocked out my basket by a Tiger 2 that's been sat in their spawn all game. Picked up 7 kills, but didn't really help his team get victory. Unlike this Tiger 2, who was trying a lot harder and had his engine taken out in the open. So, side turret shot. As before, it'll take out the turret and it'll blast down through the whole roof. But we still need to get the sea point back, so I'm going to try and take advantage of this smoke screen that the Tiger 2 deployed. And hopefully I can get there. had a lot of fun with this tank in the past few days, a lot more than I ever expected. I was all prepared for this to absolutely suck, but it's been remarkably enjoyable. There's no hugely impressive games. It's difficult to get an impressive game with a derp tank like this. If anything, it's more impressive that some of the shots I make are so bad. That one there, God knows it. I'm not sure if I got the range wrong. If it just simply went through a gap between the crew and or between the turret and the cab, but I would have again expected it to completely decimate him with a simple splash. So no idea. Might have to watch the replay back to find out. But thankfully, I have managed to pull this game back. Held my ground. Managed to not get shot in the side despite the team vanishing around me, and yeah, 6 kills. Pretty decent for Klunk, even if not the most terribly interesting battles. But this right here is the thing that has made me really love this tank. It's honestly completely useless to do it. Well, no, not completely useless. It's not really worth your time unless you're in a situation like this. But this is just so entertaining. Once you get the range down, and it does usually take a few shots of slowly sort of creeping the barrage in. But once you get that range down, firing it like a mortar is so damn satisfying. You've got a long travel time. And it's very hard to be precise because, you know, with the shots coming down from above, even a couple of meters extra range is going to throw you off. But it is so satisfying when you get those hits. And surprisingly, probably one of my favourite things to do in the game right now. Just sit behind the hill, press fire, and just wait and watch the shell come in. It's great for digging out really tough enemies if you've got the time. You don't always have the time. It's like there's a lot of luck and a lot of trial and error in it. But that is all for today. I do intend to, maybe for the first time ever, make a review on this, as I say I have enjoyed it a lot. It's going to take a bit more planning, so it might not come soon. We'll see. But that is all. So as always, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Oh, this never gets old. It's so satisfying.